So this is an 11C HP calculator. It's means a lot to me because it was a calculator that my sister gave me when I was in high school. She used it in college, and then I honestly I've never seen anything like it with the reverse polish notation. So I had to learn how to use it when I was maybe 15 years old. It was pretty neat because a lot of people in my high school back in the 90s just didn't really know these calculators very much, and I didn't have to lend it to anybody. It was just something I could use myself. And if someone left their calculator for a test and um, maybe they wanted to borrow one, they certainly didn't go to me to borrow mine. So then when I went to college, I used a 48G model, and I've always been a fan, or haven't been a fan since then for these type of calculators. And what we have here is below that is the hopefully the HP15C collector's edition. I think if you're watching this, you probably know that HP sold their calculator rights to another company in Europe. I don't have all the details in front of me, but when I heard earlier in the summer that they were going to come out with an HP15C collector's edition that maybe looked very much like that, but was the more advanced model, I just jumped at the opportunity to order one. The problem I ran into, and there were a couple, was that I couldn't find a retailer in the U.S. It was if you go to HP calculators, if you search for it on Google, you'll find that there's a company in Europe, and they have a couple of distributors, but none of them at the time were located in the U.S. I don't know if that will change, but I did find a couple in Europe that were apparently able to ship to the U.S. I eventually settled for one located in Germany. Um, they're called ECUs. It's an interesting name. I've never heard of it before, but they're called ECUs. They have great communication. I placed the order. I try to pay using PayPal. I was a little worried about being able to reach out to a company outside of the US, and I've been conned before, unfortunately, like most of us have if you've been around the internet for any length of time. And basically, I paid for it back in June 29th, and they immediately sent me a receipt for it. After I finally figured out how to pay them, I had to do a bank transfer. That was a little bit nerve wracking for me. But luckily, like I said, they are someone that I would recommend, at least from my limited experience with them. Communication was great. They told me initially that the calculator would be available at the end of August, start of September, but as it turns out, it was delayed. They said it was shipping logistics caused a delay on it, so they were finally able to ship at the end of September. Now, importing something like this can be, um, well, I wouldn't say it was tricky. I got lucky in the sense that uh, an import like this apparently doesn't really raise any flags with the um, taxing authorities. As I understand it, if you do a Google search for importing orders from overseas to the U.S., they give you a lot of they give you some warnings in the I think it was the U.S. Postal Service or the Customs and Border Protection, perhaps. But they have a very good FAQ about it, how to do it. You have to be very careful, they say, because if you order something, it may be from a country that's has some kind of restrictions for importing goods or items, even for individuals, let alone for commercial stuff. And they kind of warn you that you have to make sure that they include a very good legible copy of the content of the item. Otherwise, they don't. They may have to open the item itself, right? So this is the company. It's called, like I said, it's called ECUs. I don't read German, so I don't know what all that means. But if you do a search online again for HP calculators, they're definitely one of the listed partners in the in that part of the world. So, like I said, I paid at the time. I paid with shipping 137.4 euros, which when I did the bank transfer, I guess the bank did all the calculation based on the exchange rates and what have you. My bank, I guess I was lucky; they did not charge me any fees for the transfer, and so that was it. Pretty easy. So going back to the importing, so the website I found said that the shipper has to include one of these receipts, and they caution you not to request the wrong information on the value of the item because that's illegal to do that, to attempt to do that. So they warn you against it. So that's, I'm glad I didn't know what they were going to do, how they were going to ship it, other than when they shipped it, they send it by DHL. Um, this is a customs declaration form. That website also discusses the form that they have to use. Luckily, ECUs was, like I said, very professional. They seem to do everything correctly because couple of days later after they ship it, it arrived uh, in the U.S., but then it took about a week to make it through the customs process. I think there's a limit on the cost that you can have for an item. I don't know if there's an annual limit, but certainly for an item that you're bringing in for non-commercial purposes, as I understood it, the limit is like $800. But go ahead and check for yourself, of course, before you rely on any of this information, right? So the moment of truth, I picked it up today at the post office. They tried to deliver yesterday, but they wanted a signature. So I went today. I have not opened it. I resisted the temptation of opening it in the car. I wanted to make a video primarily because I haven't seen any videos yet online of an unboxing for this. Not that there will not be any others or that this one is better than any other. This is literally my first time I'm going to post a video on YouTube. So here we go. Let's see what's inside. I hope I'm not disappointed. All right. Let's do it carefully. All right, let's see. Oh, and by the way, DHL only delivered to the import airport. I think it was JFK. After that, they gave it to Customs and Border Protection, and after that, it was up to the post office to finish the delivery. So, U.S. Postal Service will be involved in this. So, you already seen the packing or shipping receipt, and there it is. And it looks amazing. Yeah, I don't even have it out of the box, and it looks great. Let me see. It looks like it's in great shape. There's no damage with it. Obviously, it was shipped with this packing material, so all's good there. Wow, and by the way, I have seen one of these HP15C collector's edition in a box just like this on eBay in the US for 300 and something dollars. So they are coming in. I just don't think that there's a commercial outfit that's doing it. I think these are individuals perhaps that are doing exactly what I just did, but I'm not doing this for commercial purposes. I'm opening this box and I'm going to use it. So what did I do with my knife? I'm already losing stuff. Here we go. I'm just going to be careful. Not because I want to sell it. All right. Very nice. Looks like it feels like leather, but obviously it's not. Has a very nice touch or feel to it. And it has a hinge, paper hinge. Ah, okay. I thought it was covered in some kind of plastic, but it is. The plastic is. Oh, I see what happens. No, no. Something's weird here. Looks like this plastic. I thought it was on top of the calculator, but it's actually on top of the box. So, okay, moving on. And there it is. Let's compare it. Compare the back. So the 11C on my right uses three, I believe the number is LR44 batteries or cells, which will last for years if you don't use the calculator every day for hours. Like I don't use this one as much anymore. And there were some rubber feet that fell off back in the 90s. And I cover this with some plastic simply so, because the writing was beginning to be hard to read as I guess the paint or whatever material they used to make the lettering was falling off. So, but always I always felt like this calculator was built really well. And if you know the history about this type of series of calculators, the LCD was, I believe it was one of the first times that an LCD was used on a calculator like this by HP, and it was quite a very delicate um, material that even the supplier from Japan warned HP that it would be very, very easy for it to break if the calculator was dropped. And HP redesigned the layout of the calculator itself in order to protect the LCD. But I know this has been dropped a few times and it survived. So on the back of this, I see a little Phillips screw to hold the lid. So we're going to have to look inside. But I'm pretty sure that they're using a different uh, battery. This is different. Obviously, it's the negative of that one, right? So the text is black versus silver. It says collector's edition number. Huh, it's got a serial number. I don't see a serial number on the back of the 11Cs from the 80s. Hmm. Okay, so you have I need to research this and find out if they have if they have changed or updated any of the legend or labeling on the back of it. All right, and it turns on. I don't know what I expected. I guess if he hadn't turned on, I would have to be calling the supplier. Interesting. It has a very good feel. It has a different sound, as to be expected, being something that is essentially 40. Is it 40? 40 something years after this one came out. Um, let's do the math here real quick. We got calculators for crying out loud. 2023 minus 19. I don't know the history well enough. Maybe 83, 40. No, Jesus, I don't need a calculator to do that, right? So very similar. As I understand it, the 15C was a more advanced calculator overall with more functions. And given that this is the collector's edition, it actually has a lot more expanded features than the original 15C. So that'll be pretty neat to experience. For me, it's pretty neat that I get to experience the excitement of kind of learning how to use one of these HP calculators, something that I haven't experienced since I bought my 48G back in 1993, so 30 years ago. And that's neat. So what else is in here? Okay, thank you card. All right, all right, that's cool. So yeah, this is pretty neat that there's a company that is going to come out with new products when HP in the US has decided that the market for these calculators in the US is probably not worth their while, other than to simply license it to others to be able to do something like this. I mean, I think this is pretty awesome. I heard in other channels and people that know more about this than I do that the company that has the licensing decided a while back, maybe about 2 years ago, maybe in the middle of the pandemic, that they had the stock of parts from a project for from making the HP12 business calculator, that they had that. So they thought that maybe what they could do is reissue the 15C, not just the business one. And so, as I understand it, these may have started life at one point as a business version of the calculator, which is pretty popular today, continues to be popular, continues to be available, but they wanted to make something more special. Um, I think they certainly did that. Now, let's see what else is in here, and we'll close or start wrapping up the video. Looks like we have another case. Looks, feels nice. This is not real leather. I don't believe it is. And in fact, I'm already finding issues with it. See, the concern I'm having is that it is not holding its shape very easily when you go and use it. Taking it out is great, but obviously it's a little soft. Maybe it'll improve with time, you know, as it stores the calculator, maybe it'll regain the proper shape. But the original one from the 11C, I still have it. I don't think it's going to be an issue telling them apart, but the original one just appears to be stiffer, maybe because it's older, but I don't remember it being flimsy feeling as this one. Now, some of you may have noticed that I actually have my own leather case for it. It's a work in progress. I intended to make this and turn it inside out so I could have the black leather on the outside, but I haven't figured out yet how to make sure that I take the dimensions correctly. So this one, when I turn it inside out, does not, it's too tight. So even I have issues making these things. So I'm not going to be picky about that. So I'll make one that's nicer. So cool. Let's see what else is included. Oh, the owner's manual. So back in the 80s and 90s, of course, there was printed manuals. And that is exactly what we have here. True reproduction of the 15C manual. This is available online. You don't have to buy the calculator, obviously, to get it. But if you want to see what it looks like and what the content and the introduction, which is brand new as of February 2023, it is an introduction by, I want to say it was by the folks who created this, or maybe it was by the HP organization that, yeah, we go, hpmuseum.org. That's what I thought. So yeah, this is pretty neat to see a manual like this, a printed manual on a product. I think this is definitely a product that appeals to nostalgia, to those of us who appreciate a manual calculator, who use a regular calculator app on a phone, but who believe that there's something special about having a physical calculator that doesn't have to show you texts or other distractions, that just simply works. And there's others, obviously, other companies that are still believe that. There's Swiss Micros, there's can't remember the name, but there's another company in Europe that makes calculators. Numworks is the calculator. So yeah, there's others, and I think that's great. And there's some of you um, watching this who may say, "What's the point?" Um, and that's perfectly fine. If you believe that, that's perfectly okay. So 137.4 euros. That's pretty close to $150, I guess. You got to do the conversion. I don't know what the exchange rate is right now, but it is not a $20 calculator. And that's hopefully it for now. If I get around to it, I'll do another video maybe. Who knows? Maybe this is the last one ever, first and last. Cool.